Hi, welcome to How to Be a Successful Intern with Internship on Demand. In this workshop, we're going to talk about all the details and the how-tos to turn yourself from an intern into a full-time employee once you've landed at the company of your dreams. Let's get started. According to the National Association of Colleges and Employers, internship experience within a company is the single most influential factor in hiring a full-time employee. What this means is that when hiring managers look to fill out their next cohort of full-time employees, the first place they look is their current internship program. This means that once you get that internship, your chances of landing a full-time job increase. Graduates who complete internship experience while in school have over $15,000 in additional annual income compared to students who completed no internship experience in college. This means getting that internship means over $10,000 of extra capital in your pockets when you find that full-time job. And on the flip side, college graduates with internship experience see averages of 15% higher rates of employment. This means getting that internship means you have higher chances of finding an internship post-graduation. We know landing an internship is incredibly beneficial. It helps your career path, leads to $15,000 in additional income, and gives you 15% chance on average of being employed after graduation. But the first major hurdle you're going to encounter in your career is finding that first internship. In fact, in any given year, 64% of students who are looking for internships don't get them. This means actually the majority of students who go out, go to the career fair, apply for jobs, actually don't secure internships. Now, there's a number of factors that come into play here when we think about that. But what it means is that you are not alone if you're still trying to find that first internship, that first co-op, that first opportunity to get your career started. In this workshop, we'll talk about the general shared traits and practices of successful interns. We'll get some practice bringing those ideas into the real world. We'll help you get a leg up transitioning into a full-time employee. Starting with the question, what makes a successful intern? Some quick reminders ahead of your internship. When you land at a company, nobody expects you to be perfect when you show up. No one expects you to have every tool, every process mastered when you arrive at a company day one. In fact, when we sit down and talk with employers and we ask what makes the top 2 to 5 interns stand out, it's always they showed up, they asked questions, they knew how to manage their projects, and they were interested in getting the job done. This time is for you to learn, test drive the company, and formulate your career plans. It's also an opportunity for employers to do the same. Your goal is to learn where you want to go in your career. If that plan, if that initiative fits with the company you're interning at, then that's great. They're going to be doing the exact same thing. Now let's assume you've landed that internship, you're excited to go back to that company. Now your goal becomes landing a full-time job at that organization. So how do you do that? Rules for making impact in your internship. Making an impact in your internship comes down to a few things. Some within your control, some outside of your control. Within your control is the effort and the ability to learn that you show at the company. It's how you engage with your manager, the folks who decide who gets hired at that company, and then whether your skills, personality, and goals match the employer. If you've already applied, gotten into that internship, it's a good bet your skills, your ability match what the employer is looking for. Now you need to make them sure and guaranteed that bringing you on as a full-time employee is going to pay off. There will unfortunately be things outside of your control when it comes to turning that internship into a full-time job. Whether that company has an open role when you graduate. Not every company aligns their internship with their full-time hiring. Sometimes you might have a difficult or a non-ideal manager. who might not be engaged, you might not mesh with them, and that's okay. There are things you can do to make that experience worthwhile for yourself. There are things you can do to try to get your manager on your side, but sometimes it may not happen. We know global pandemics can cause problems. It's no surprise. Recessions, whether it's 2008 or what might be happening in 2023 or beyond, recessions can change what the hiring roadmap looks like. Some tips to help set you apart. When you're looking to go from intern to full-time employee, it's really about making sure your manager and the hiring decision makers at your company feel confident in bringing you on board. We'll talk about how you get what you put in, how to ask for help when you need it, but balancing that with an attempt yourself. Effective project management and time management goes a long way in helping set you apart, as does successfully managing up. We'll talk about what that means. Setting informational interviews, connecting with employees across the organization, and making sure you have an understanding of basic professionalism in the workplace. The first one here, and it's pretty straightforward. You get out what you put in. As a young professional, you need to put in effort and you need to put in energy to get great opportunities. The students who go the extra mile, ask questions, look for more projects, are the ones who often end up with more job opportunities. The same thing goes whether you're studying for a class, looking to make friends or connect with students on campus, or trying to turn an internship into a full-time job. Asking for help when you need it is one of the most important things to do as an intern. When we talk with employers, they often say students will resist asking for help. They're worried that it may make them seem like they aren't grasping the concepts, they don't know what they're doing, but in reality, you need to ask for help because nobody expects that you know everything when you arrive day one. So how to ask for help as an intern? Your goal as an intern is to develop into a full-time employee, whether that's at the company you're interning at or not. You want to be adding tools to your tool belt so that when you enter the real world, you can be the most impactful candidate possible. Your manager's on your side. Ask them for help when needed. Go to them and say, hey, I'm struggling with something, or I think I'm falling behind. I don't know if I'm solving this right. Can you take a look at it? Some employers will actually set up their interns with a mentor. This mentor will not be your direct manager. This gives you an opportunity to have a little less pressure when you go to that mentor to ask questions. Take note of the team makeup. Every team will typically have a wise oak tree on staff who knows the processes, who helped to develop them, where you can go to ask questions. You want to make sure these people know who you are willing to help you, and you can go to them when you need assistance. Now, on the flip side, asking for help and balancing your own problem solving and your own attempts at working through issues can be one of the more challenging things to work out as a young professional. There's certainly a balance. You don't want to go to your manager every time you hit a little snag, but you want to make sure that you spend some time thinking through projects, Googling, asking other candidates, putting your head down and thinking hard about how you solve that problem. We hear from employers all the time how important it is for interns to balance that problem solving with asking for help. Gina Bonini, the Vice President and General Manager for Advanced Thermal Systems at Modine Manufacturing, put it incredibly well. We're looking for interns who are going to explore, who are going to think differently, and who are willing to learn. That's what ultimately makes the perfect hire for Modine Manufacturing. And she is not alone. We hear similar sentiments from many of the employers we work with, we talk with. What they're looking for is interns who are willing to learn, who are willing to challenge themselves, and pick up new skills along the way. Having effective project management and time management skills goes an incredibly long way to making yourself stand out. Because at the end of the day, managing your project and managing your time is how you can actually get work done. And getting work done will stick in the heads of your hiring managers. We want to quickly note that projects won't be as clear-cut on the job as they are in school. This is one of the hardest learnings for any young professional. When you go through school, you have a set time limit for an assignment or a project. You're typically told what the key variables are. And this is a project that's been done time after time or semester after semester. There is a process, there is a real answer, there's a right answer that you have to work towards. Oftentimes, your projects in the real world, you won't know what the outcomes are, and you'll have to determine what the variables are to even start that project as you go. Some tips to remember on how to manage your projects well. Take a notebook or your laptop with you when you go to meetings. You can take notes, Google things if you have any questions that you want to bring up. Tracking your ongoing projects using a shareable software tool is a great way to make sure you keep yourself organized, but also gives you something to exhibit, show off to hiring managers, or even to take home and share and record in your resume when you go out to find that next internship. Consider tracking primary deliverable, what you need to do for that project, the deadline, when it's due, major milestones that you expect to hit along that project, and then your process, your progress, and your efforts to complete that project. We recommend doing this on a weekly basis or maybe every couple of days so that you can see how you went from A to B to F to Z. It's really, really important that you can think through that process and show that off to your manager. We recommend asking your manager and other team members how they track their own progress. Whether your company has a set tool for managing projects or managing process, or everybody uses a unique tool that works best for them, this is a great way to understand and test what might work for you. Alongside that project tracker, try to take photos, take notes of your work as you go along the process. This can be used in a portfolio, a visible resume, as long as the photos and the material that you're sharing is okayed and is non-confidential from your employer. Always start by baselining the current state of the process before you implement any changes. Whether you're marketing, engineering, software, come in and baseline the current process. If something is bad, how bad is it? If something is great and you want to make it a little bit better, well, how great is it? What is the key metric that your manager is going to be measuring you against? And how can you update that? This allows you the opportunity to measure the hopefully beneficial outcome following your intervention. Managing up is essentially aligning your actions and your responsibilities with the role and the responsibility of your manager. At the end of the day, your job is to make your manager successful so that they can reflect that onto you. You can manage up by making sure that you have a good workload and you have good impact as an intern. How to successfully manage up as an intern? Determine first what expectations your manager has for you. If they expect you to do 5 projects over the extent of your internship, great. What are those 5? What is the metrics for each one? And how can you work against that? If you don't know what the expectations of your manager, you won't have anything to work against. Ask how you can best deliver data or recommendations that fit her style. If your manager is really data driven, what do they want to look for? If they want a recommendation and then they want you to back that recommendation up because you're the one who's done all the project, then you should know that. You should ask those questions so that when you put your work in front of them, it can be it can be as impactful as possible. Take initiative to ask for additional work, barring you don't have a full plate of projects at the time. There will certainly be dead times or slow times as an intern. This is not an opportunity to kick your feet up, relax, and scroll social media. You're there to learn, you're there to make impact. Go out and ask for additional work. If your direct manager doesn't have any additional work, you can go over to other members of your team or other interns and ask if they need help on a specific project. Ultimately, the best strategy for managing up and being an effective intern is completing high quality work. Completing the work that your manager asks you to do on time and up to or beyond their expectations. That will get you noticed, that will get you into a full-time role. Part of being an intern at a big company or a small company is getting to know the culture and the people who make it work. Informational interviews are the best way to get to know folks across an organization. Informational interviews are what they sound like. They're short opportunities to sit down and interview and chat with someone at a company. These informational interviews are short, typically informal conversations, so you can gain clarity on a potential career path, company culture, job opportunity, etc. Informational interviews can be a coffee break, a virtual Q&A, or Zoom session, or lunch with a peer. Informational interviews are effective in gathering information, insights from a mentor, a colleague, or someone who's higher up. Setting informational interviews shows initiative and is a great way to get in front of somebody at a company. Now, what this might look like in practice is if you're an intern on the marketing team, is reaching out to the director of marketing who sits a couple cubicles away and saying, hey, would you like to get coffee with me next Thursday? Or would you have 15 minutes of time? Don't be afraid to reach out via email, stop by their desk, or just ask. If you have a great mentor, a great manager, maybe sit down and ask, hey, I'd like to get a clue into how the engineering team works, or the packaging team works, or the sustainability team works. Can you make an introduction for me? Informational interviews go a really long way to not only helping you build your tool belts as skills, your skill tool belts, your understanding of the company, but they also help you make connections and network across the organization. And when you consider that 85% of all jobs are filled via networking, according to Zippia, and 70% of employees found their current posting via networking, they allow you to meet and connect with potential employers, managers from across the organization who will get to know you, get to know your name, and can potentially help you find your next role. Tying together your internship experience comes down to interactions you have on a day-to-day basis. Keeping your While it may seem trivial and unimportant, maintaining professionalism and your person-to-person skills will help you stand out, because not every candidate, not every intern manages to keep their professionalism throughout the day or throughout their internship. Some basic ones like showing up on time, keeping your personal hygiene, at least guarantee you won't be excluded from the short list of full-time candidates. Going above and beyond, like taking and sharing meeting notes, is a great way to make sure your managers know who you are, you show up in email inboxes, and you're giving somebody something. If you're leading meetings or running projects as an intern, that's great. That's an awesome way to showcase skills. If you're doing that, setting agendas is a key way to make sure you stay on top of the projects and show off that, hey, I know what I'm doing. I can manage projects. I'm a great fit for your future employer. Setting deadlines and meeting them with your manager, with other teammates, is how you actually get work done as a manager. Now, if you're not hitting those deadlines, you need to be asking questions. You need to be asking for help so that you can stand out as an intern. These key skills are what you can use to help set yourself apart from the crowd and come home with an internship or a full-time job offer. Remember, closing advice to make sure you have a successful internship. If you can, try to get multiple internship experiences. Now, what we mean by this is particularly big company versus small company is something that adds a lot of differentiation to your resume as well as your career opportunities as a full-time employee. If you're on the fence of potential majors between, say, business, real estate, and marketing, try to get internships in both fields. This gives you an opportunity to understand what you want to do and how you want to do it. Getting those different experiences is how you can round out your repertoire of experience. And don't be afraid to get outside of your comfort zone. Making mistakes is simply part of the process. If something you decide to do is going to cost the business $5 million, you probably shouldn't be making that call. But if that's the case, you might want to ask your manager, your mentor, why they're even asking you to do that in the first place. The mistakes that you will make as an intern won't cost businesses life or death. This is a great opportunity to do something, test it out, and see what works. And finally, treat every task, every opportunity as a gift to learn something new. You never know what you're going to like, what you're not going to like until you actually get the opportunity to do it. Speaking personally, I never thought I'd enjoy manufacturing and being down on a floor making products. I got to do it as an intern and loved it. It was so different to get that experience as an intern as opposed to getting that experience in the classroom. And learning what you don't want to do can be just as valuable as learning what you do want to do. Because you don't know if you want to do something until you actually get to put your hands on it, wrap your arms around it, and work on it as an intern. Some additional resources and links to help get you started as a successful intern. Resources from the Harvard Business Review, SIMBA, and the National Association of College Employers are great materials that we often and frequently share with students when they come to Internship on Demand looking for advice on balancing that internship experience. Thanks for watching this video on how to be a successful intern. We wish you the best of luck once you land that internship and turning it into a full-time job opportunity.